Hello Cloudarians. Today we'll be doing the lab introduction to Amazon Linux machine image that's on Canvas. So we'll be beginning with the lab 225. This is a whole series on its own. So if you're on Canvas, you start up you spin up your machine, then you ensure to click on the start lab for it to read first. But here let's explain briefly what you're looking at today. So today what we are trying to do is to SSH to reach an instance. Okay, there's a different path for Linux users, those who are using Mac or OS in Linux, and also for Windows. I already have Git Bash installed, which I find it a bit easier, so you can just install Git Bash and we use the Linux commands there to SSH into our EC2 instance. So that is what we'll be doing today. We are just going to SSH into that instance and then do the man lab. We are trying to reach our particular instance. So that's it. That's as simple as it is. So when you click on the details, you are supposed to download a PEM file. This PEM file will contain your public IP address that you can use to reach your instance. So when you start your lab, wait for the details, wait for it to start, okay, before you can move on. So when you start the lab, you are going to go to the details aspect, download the .pem file, and that is what you are going to be using. So you can see that I've already created a text document. This is where I paste the public IP address that we'll be using for this particular lab. So yeah, we wait for it to spin, then we can go on. This is a very short lab. Okay, you are not going to use the console for anything, so you don't even need to go here. I was doing certain things at the background, that's why. And I made certain mistakes and I intentionally did not delete them, but I forwarded them. You're going to see the mistake I did. So when I downloaded my PEM file here, it was saved. I already had a PEM file, so it was saved in a different format. So that is one thing I want you to take note of today. When you save your PEM file, take note of how it was downloaded, the name at which it was saved as exactly that name. That is what you should be using. And in Git Bash, because my lab was named .pem1 into brackets, it wasn't taking it like that. So I had to rename my PEM file and then go ahead with what I wanted to do. So you can see here I have downloaded, I copied my public address and I pasted it in this text book, like you can see here. Just paste it till you need it. Then I went ahead with my tasks. So here what we are trying to get, like I said earlier, is to SSH. That's, we want to reach our instance in a secure way. That's basically it. So you need, if you are using the Windows, you are going to be needing the ppk file, but for the Linux we are going to be using the PEM, and that is what I use. So I've opened my Git Bash. This was a mistake I made. You could see that the way my PEM file was saved wasn't how I imputed it over here. It was even the same way I imputed it over here, but in Git Bash there is a different way it will take into brackets. So how easy I was able to resolve this particular or troubleshoot this particular problem was to go back to my downloads, rename my PEM file, then I could easily just use the normal labsuser.pem like they wanted. Yes, so that was exactly what I did, but I intentionally kept this so that you can skip this process. So you can just skip to the part where my download file was renamed, then I used it. Okay, so here we are already in our downloads. If you are already in your downloads, you don't need to CD into the downloads, but for the process, for people without the knowledge, you are supposed to CD. The CD here means change directory into our download. So you are trying to move to your downloads folder because that's where I downloaded the PEM file. And here I'm doing this to ensure that the labs user.pem file is indeed in my downloads. So you can see when you type the chmod, that's the change mode 400 labs user file. I'm just trying to ensure I'm just trying to give permission to that particular file. Okay, so that's the essence of the chmod. It's permission that we are trying to give. So here you are supposed to reach the instance after it. So you are going to input the SSHing command with your public IP address. Do you understand? With the EC2, the name of the instance, with the public IP address, and that is what I'm doing here. So you can just replicate exactly what I'm doing over here at your end, then you can do it also. So inside the bash, you have to install certain drivers before you can even do the copy and paste directly from the text document onto here. So because I don't have those particular updated drivers, I just had to manually input the public IPs into my git bash, and that is what is taking time. After that, we can easily click on the yes, that's accepting to SSH into that instance. Then we'll be inside. Yes, now we are inside. We have reached that instance. You can see here. So here we are trying to know what we can do. That's exploring the man pages. So to open our manual for this instance, you have to click the command man. So this man command is, like I said, the manual. And you can move up and down these pages using your arrow keys. So you can use the arrow keys to move up and down and take note of what is written inside the manual page. Okay, there is the name, we have the synopsis, there is description, there is the overview. It gives some examples, there are certain files, options. You can also see also. Do you understand? So this window is displaying the utilities of the manual page, the things that the manual page contains. That's if you need certain important info, this is what you need. And to just exit from this man page, you just enter or press your Q, the Q command on your keyboard, and then you are able to exit. So this is all we are doing for this particular lab. So ensure, for those with Canvas, ensure you submit this lab to get your mark before you end the lab. If you end the lab without submitting, that is where you don't get any mark. Okay, so you have to come and redo it again. Yes, so submit. If you don't have Canvas lab and you're doing this inside your personal lab and your personal account, then don't bother about this process. That is the first task we've done for Linux. Okay, we have tried to SSH into an instance and also know about the manual pages. That is it. We'll be having more series in this Linux because it's a whole lot of labs when it comes to Linux, and I'll try my possible best to do almost every lab here so you can learn. Okay, if you have questions, send the DM in my comment section. Drop your comments in the comment section. If you have any contribution, you can also drop them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and also share with your colleagues.